Hey everyone, I am in Kansas and this is Highway 169 and I think County Road 3240 is what that sign says, I believe. But this is the All Saints Cemetery. That's a busy road back there, so there's a lot of road traffic. But let me just show you around. It's a little roadside cemetery. So I looked this little cemetery up on Find a Grave and didn't see anyone famous, but I still thought it was a neat little cemetery right off of the highway here. But some of them date a little ways back, over 100 years, like this one. Paul Wishel, 1919, and his wife was 1914 is when she died. Not exactly sure what town or community this is. It's kind of southern part of Kansas, Highway 169 and County Road 3420, if I said that right earlier. Henry Kershoff, 1910. We have Mary, who's 1908. Vernie, 1917. Pretty interesting little tiny cemetery here. Pulled off at the entrance right there. That's the only entrance, so you really just can't drive through this or anything. This is Emming, and it looks like the earliest one of this one is 1917. The father, John Emming, and the mother lived a while longer. They were born the same year in 1849, but she lived until 1934. Hope I don't butcher these names. It looks like it could have been a little bit of a German community here. Sherman, if I'm saying that correctly, JT. He passed away in 1895. And Mary, his wife, passed away in 1931. There's more of the Sherman family here. Father passed away in 1953. I love finding the markers with all the growth on here. This is the son, George Francis, 1945, August 23rd. Gotta wonder what happened to him. He was only 20 years old. But isn't that growth fascinating? I know it's hard to read on camera. This one really is. This is the mother, and her name is Mary. Passed away in 1965. That is Grawheck. Because said I don't want to butcher the names. Something's been digging here. Little armadillo, squirrel, something. The camera's a little shaky. I apologize. The sun is going down and it is definitely chilly. That is Alan. Pretty sunset here though with the cemetery. I think it's absolutely beautiful. That's why I decided to pull over and capture this. Then we have Lynn and Johnson, 1920. And that's 1942 and 1930 for James over there. These look really old in this particular spot here. But corner markers are starting to crack. The border's starting to fall apart. This is surprisingly Joseph Ryder, December 28th, 1844, and died January 20th, 1901. And then Mary is the wife of Joseph, and she died in 1914. She was born in 1843. And they had a son born November 13th, 1882, and died February 17th, 1891. Not very old at all. Joseph P. Ryder, 1867 to 1902. You can see some of the little foot markers in there. A lot of German names in here though, really. By far the most popular name so far is this Sherman. We have a Staten over there. That's a little bit newer one, 2006. This is another Emming. This is the Kershaw family. Henry died in 1910, Teresa in 1913, Mary in 1908, and Vernie in 1917. Someone ran off the road a little bit. I could hear the noise. There are still burials that are happening in here. Here we have one from 2016 in loving memory of Therese Gidney. It's an older cemetery, but it really looks like it's well maintained. It's interesting to hear the cars and trucks pass by. Some of them are louder than others, depending on the tires and the engine. Now, I'm sure at one point in time this was a really quiet cemetery, and now with this highway here, it's not so quiet anymore. John Drennan, 1861 to 1923, and Isabel, his wife, 1864 to 1936. Love this marker right here with this cross. It's like William Mayer, born 1829 and died in 1907. That's just beautiful right there. And then Englert, Joseph Englert, passed away in 1910, and his wife passed away in 1903. So now I know where we're at. All Saints Cemetery in Liberty, Kansas. Pretty interesting. All of that sort of cracking like that. The chains are all rusty, and the concrete is cracking like as if they put concrete over the top of maybe something else underneath. I don't know, but it is cracking. And the paint on the statues is definitely cracking. So they may have painted those steps at one point. So last name Sack, Mary Isabel, 1926 to 1931. And an infant daughter of Frank T. and Katie Lynn. Nora Altendorf, 1975, and Cecil Altendorf, 1986. There are several of those like that, where they're kind of these in-ground but slightly above ground little crypts. Nellie Marchant, 1971. Lloyd Marchant, 1959. And then we have a little one here. It's like 1920. And probably be able to read that on the camera better than I can in person. It's getting a little dark out. A lot of little potholes from some little critter digging in here though. I'm gonna guess some armadillo or something. Could be squirrels though. This is Stuckel. Mary Agnes and Charles J. Mary is 1991. Charles is 1928. And then right here we have a veteran of World War II, passed away in 1979. Paul Eugene Stuckel. Pretty interesting. That is a yucca plant there. And those are flowers that you'll see in the springtime. So no one's trimmed those back. James Osborne, 1981. A neat old cracking statue there. Kathleen, 1974. We have a Hill and a Miller. Another Miller and another Mayer. Corrigan. We have another Grayhack or Grawhawk. Grawheck. Said don't mean to butcher these. So you have Jacob 1905, and well, Jacob is 1917. That is Anna, wife of Jacob. I misread that. 1905. So she passed away before he did. More Grauhex, 1959 for Anna and John right there. He was born 10 years earlier in 1872. We have the Smith right there. Trying to keep an eye on the ground as I am stepping in some of those holes from whatever critter dug it. More Grauheck. It's a lot of the family here. 1960 on both of those. Ella and Frank. Mayer is 1955 for Daniel, and Jane was 1925. And then here they have a baby son, 1946. So there's still room in this cemetery. Mary E. Nanny Rainey, 1995, and Charles E. Pete Rainey, 1990. You can see there's quite a few growths on these stones in here. That one right there on Datar is a big one of those lichens. There's some over on this one that's interesting as the stone has turned dark. But then the lichens are lighter colored. Isn't that interesting? Looks like Henry A. Brewer, B-R-U-H-R Jr., 1939 to 1973. Pretty interesting cemetery though. And like I said, I thought it was beautiful as the sun's going down. You can actually see things better on this camera than you actually can in person. It is way brighter on this camera than it is in actuality. You can see that car had the headlights on, but it is pretty dim, but way brighter on this camera. But isn't that a beautiful shot? The sunset and those markers like that. But anyways, it's a quick little tour, but I thought it was a nice looking little side of the road cemetery next to Highway 169, Liberty, Kansas. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys next time.